Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to showcase a bunch of useful tips and tricks to help you win in the new season. These will include everything from new in-game functionalities to advanced editing tricks to even some helpful changes you did not know about since Epic has not released patch notes. Really quickly though, I'm going to throw up some timestamps for each different section of the video. Feel free to skip around, but you know I always recommend watching the whole thing through. Regardless, this is my ultimate guide to dominating in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2. To start off, I want to talk about two new changes that will really help you in the early game. The first one is that Epic has drastically changed the paths of the battle bus, where before in every season outside of Chapter 2 Season 2, the bus path could come in from pretty much anywhere. The way it changed is almost all of the bus paths are now centered towards the middle of the map. This does not mean the bus route is the same every single time, it just means it will always fly near the center island at one point, and you will no longer get any terrible bus routes that look like this. The other new change in the early game that gives the battle bus one a little more context is that you now have 4 minutes instead of 3 minutes before the first zone fully closes in. Shout out to Chapix for pointing this out, but you can see the new storm timer starts at 4 minutes for the initial zone. Why does this matter? Well, it makes rotations way more bearable for people who land at the outskirts of the map. And if you remember what locations are on the outside of the map, there's 4 completely new ones that Epic just added. What all this means is that Epic wants people to land at these new POIs and have a better chance of making it to zone. So even if you're not going to one of the newly added spots, this makes places like Steamy Stacks or the island behind Misty much more viable as a solo location. Next thing we're going to look at are all the map changes, as those are really going to dictate the way your game plays out. In total, Epic added 5 new points of interest or named locations on the map. These include the Agency, which lies on the middle island near Risky and is basically a big secret agent office type building. Next, there's the Shark, which is situated at the top left of the map. As the name implies, it's a big rock structure that looks like a shark with a lavish house on top of it. After that, there's the Yacht at the top right of the map this time, and it's exactly what you think it would be. It's a giant boat with numerous levels and rooms. Then to the Yacht south is the Grotto. The Grotto is a very interesting POI since it's located within the side of the mountain near retail. This means you have to go through the cave at the bottom or the hole at the top to access the military style base that lies below. Last but certainly not least is the new location at the other corner of the map, the Rig. This might be my new favorite POI because of how great it is for combat and how few people land there. All in all though, that's a brief rundown of all the 5 new POIs. Now, what's different about all these points of interest is that they all have NPCs running around them called Henchmen. These bots are assigned to kill you and protect the vault, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other thing you'll have to worry about on top of the henchmen are the lasers and missile systems that are also there to kill you. All the new locations have these, and all the new locations have a final boss. These final bosses are skins from the battle pass like Midas, Mewoscles, and Skye. When you kill them, they all drop a different mythic weapon that only you have. Midas at the Agency drops a mythic drum gun, Mewoscles at the Yacht drops a mythic heavy AR, Skye at the Shark drops a mythic Scar and Grappler, TNTina at the Rig drops a mythic bow, and Brutus at the Grotto drops a mythic minigun. Mythic, by the way, is just a step above legendary in rarity. That means there's only one mythic weapon per new POI. The mythic assault rifles do more damage and have a faster fire rate, the mythic crossbow recharges shots, and the mythic grappler has unlimited uses. Yes, you heard that correctly, unlimited. Anyways, the other thing the final bosses drop is a keycard that gives you access to the vault I mentioned before. All you gotta do is take out the keycard from your inventory, follow the arrows to the vault, and scan it, then the huge vault doors will open. Inside, you'll find a bunch of chests, airdrops, and a new type of chest called crates. These crates are very similar to super chests, except they give you multiple weapons at a time. Lastly, each vault outside of the one at the Agency also have a porta potty inside of them. This is not the ordinary porta potty you are used to though. Once you enter, you're teleported through a bunch of tunnels and end up outside of the POI near zone. Some other important things to know about the new POIs is that the crates are available all throughout the buildings. You can try to open them with your face by scanning it, but it will not work since you're not a henchman. Therefore, 2 workarounds are to either knock a henchman, pick him up, and scan his face to open the crate, or to go into a telephone booth which will disguise you as a henchman yourself, and then you can open any crates you scan. Some tips for sneaking around these guarded bases are just to use a cardboard box if you can find one. Just hop inside it, and none of the henchmen or the lasers will be alerted of your presence. Another thing you can do is destroy the mainframe computer thing that controls all the lasers, and that will effectively disable most of the weapon defense around the base. Last henchman related note I have is the other option you're given after knocking them out. Rather than picking them up and using their face to scan something, you can interact with their body and do what's called shaking them down. This will reveal all the remaining henchmen, your opponents, chests, as well as the final boss, who is designated by a crown. So if you're trying to get a mythic weapon and survive the henchmen, definitely utilize one of the many strategies I just went over. If you want my personal advice regarding the new locations and where to drop, I honestly think you should avoid them if you're going for a win. I know it's not as fun or exciting because you won't have a mythic weapon to your advantage, but you have a much higher chance of survival while dropping anywhere else. Plus, if you kill someone who has a mythic weapon in the mid game or end game, you end up in the same spot without doing any of the hard work. One little cheeky strat I've been using is dropping near one of the new spots, like say Risky Reels, because of how close it is to the agency. And what I'll do is loot up, get full shield, and then make my way over to it and clean up all the clown boys trying to kill the final boss. In the end though, it's your choice on where to land and how to play out the match. If you want to land at a new POI, then do it. And if you want to land somewhere safe, then you can do that too. Just realize for the first few weeks, all of the fresh locations will be insanely contested, especially the agency. So play smart, try to get mythic weapons because they are broken, but also be aware you do not need one to win the game. It only makes winning easier. Next up, the loot pool actually changed a lot. What's been vaulted are traps, bolt action snipers, and P90s. What's been unvaulted are remote explosives, aka C4s, suppressed ARs, suppressed SMGs, suppressed snipers, suppressed pistols, heavy snipers, and a new weapon called the rapid fire SMG. The catch, however, is that all of these unvaulted weapons can only be found in crates inside the vault. That means you cannot find a silent scar or a heavy sniper in a normal chest, even though they've technically been unvaulted. The only ways to get your hands on them are to kill a henchman, to get them from a vault at one of the new POIs yourself, or kill someone else who did that. I actually think this is a pretty cool addition, especially since it's a clever play on words by Epic. If you don't know what I mean, just think about it. Anytime the developers have taken a gun out of the game, they say it's been vaulted. Then with Chapter 2 Season 2, they put literal vaults at all of the new locations, and guess what's inside the vaults? All the guns that they had vaulted in prior seasons. So while I will admit they should not be in arena or competitive, I think it's a really cool and unique way to spice the game up. My tip for playing around the new loot pool is to abuse the heck out of the fact that traps have been removed. Anytime you get a guy low and you want to W key, then straight up jump in their box. There's literally nothing you should be afraid of or scared of since traps are gone. The other tip I have is to abuse C4s as much as you can. I really don't know why they were added back because they're insanely overpowered, but as long as they're available to use, pick them up. To wrap up the video, I'm going to talk about some miscellaneous changes that you may not know about. The first is that you can now throw heals and other consumables. This is extremely useful for team game modes where your teammate is far away from you and you don't want to run over to them just to drop a mini. The new and improved way is just to hold the heal out and throw it like you would a grenade. Speaking of grenades, my favorite new addition has to be the decoy grenade. What it does is spawn a decoy of yourself that you can use to fake out henchmen or your enemies. There was actually a fight I was third partying and one of my opponents used a decoy grenade, and I kid you not, it completely threw me off for a few seconds. Its most useful feature though is that they drop mats when they despawn in arena. I guess they for some reason count as a normal person, and in arena when people die they drop 50 materials of each type. So that means you can almost get max materials by sitting in a box and waiting for your decoys to despawn in arena. Final change I want to cover that's not an unnamed location, since I am saving those for another video, is the editing fix Epic finally implemented. To be more specific, they made it so you no longer have to look down to edit a cone you're stuck under. You can just look up like you should have been able to before, and the edit will go through as long as your crosshair is positioned on one of the tiles. This may seem small, but it's actually a game changer for high ping players who have trouble with double and triple edits. So anytime you cone yourself off and get stuck on it, look up or down to make the edit go through. Overall guys, that is basically everything you need to know in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2. So if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, then do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on my post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jarian. Remember to let me know you use my code for the battle pass or to buy tier volunteers and I will shout you out. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.